It's D&D! Gamers, Dorkness Rising, released in 2008 and is directed by Matt Vancil and is produced by an independent film company called Dead Gentleman Productions. And this time around, this film is starring Nathan Rice, Brian S. Lewis, Carol Roscoe, Christian Doyle, Scott C. Brown, Jen Page, and Tallis Moore. Tell us more, I'll tell you more. Oh. And the reason why we're talking about the Gamers Dorkness Rising today is because it was a PayPal recommendation and donation from one of my subscribers and contributors on this channel, Drew Hallam from the Real Feels podcast. Thank you very, very much for recommending this movie. I know you've been recommending it a while. This and its predecessor, The Gamers. Finally getting around to watching it. There's the release of The Rings of Power this week with the Lord of the Rings, LARPing, D&D. It's all the same to me. I love it all. So checking this one out, and this one has a lot more production value than the first one. Dorkness Rising follows a group of friends playing Dungeons and Dragons. Kevin is the dungeon master trying to lead his friends and their characters down this story that he is originally creating to spark up his love for writing again. The problem with LARPers, though, is that they like to take matters into their own hands, they're very horny, and they like to fight everyone they come in contact with. So the film switches back and forth between the real-life players sitting around a table playing the game, and these characters' imagination of actually living out these quests and performing as these characters out in the woods and in these castles. So the characters get a quest to go out and get this evil mask thing, and when they do that, they come back, and it turns out the guy is like super evil, so they have to take him out. So yeah, that's all. I don't want to spoil everything. I was definitely paying attention. Don't at me, people. Don't at me. I watched this movie. And I have to say, I am very impressed from the production value jump from the very first Gamers to this one. It's night and day. It's a whole 180 degrees. The production value here is actually very, very impressive. You can tell, though, it's definitely independent and homemade, with a couple of, hey, I have this camera sitting around, do we want to use it? Nothing state-of-the-art. Still, though, the quality of cinematography is much better in this film than in the original. Now, this is a sequel, but it's not a direct sequel to The Gamers. This one takes place in the Gamers universe, I guess, but we don't follow the same people and the same characters from the first one to this one. Well, because if you watch the first one, you know what happens to those people, so there you go. But I like this go-around of this concept way more because they're giving actual characters to the people who are creating the characters in D&D, the actual players. They actually have a storyline for themselves. Kevin is a struggling writer. He has no inspiration. There's just nothing to him. He's at the status quo. He is existing in life. He is just going along. All of a sudden, though, when Joanna shows up and starts getting into the story that he's trying to create, all of a sudden those inspiration bugs start biting and he starts writing again. And I like that. I feel you, Joanna. I feel you. Her character's name's Joanna, so it made me think of Sondheim and Sweeney Todd, so I just wanted to sing it. Don't at me, I'm having fun here. And not only do they focus on the real-life people's characters and character arcs and storyline, but I feel that there's actual characteristics to these characters in this movie as opposed to the predecessor. Brian Lewis, who plays Cass, and in the actual D&D game, he plays kind of a Jedi monk. He's always combating Kevin, and he's always testing him and trying to do his own thing, or saying like, well, it's in the rules, so if you're telling us that, that's kind of bullshit. I like his version of his character in the game, though. He's trying his best, Sir Alan McGinnis. Yes, we must travel along this path to get to the castle, to solve the quest. It's almost Obi-Wan Kenobi meets Captain Kirk with the monk. So, yeah, wow, picture that, why don't you? There's Gary, who is the sorcerer of the group, and Gary wants to be a woman, so they kind of switch back and forth between a woman and a man playing the sorcerer, and they're in this nice little lingerie thing. That's pretty funny. And Da Vinci, who plays the bar in the company, he's probably my favorite. He's a womanizer, and he constantly is dying, and he comes in one day and he has like a stack of 52 different characters that he's created, because he knows that his characters are to keep on dying because bards in Dungeons and Dragons suck. So his characters keep getting killed and killed and killed, and is actually creating a barrier from the evil people and our main characters in the quest. I was like, yes, that's great. I love that. This movie just took a turn for the better from the first one. The first one is very nostalgic, and I was very appreciative because it's like, oh, it's a bunch of friends getting together and doing this thing really for no money. It's just for fun. Here, there's actual production value and there's actual story. Everything is improved from the first one. There is a puppeteered chicken thing in this movie. It's great. I had so much fun with this. It just reminds me of all the great times I've had playing D&D. It's also reminded me of all the shit times I've had playing D&D. It's all because of the Dungeon Master. If the DM is not great, you're gonna have a terrible time. And I've had pretty terrible DMs in my life. Actually, this last time, I haven't played since this time, but the last DM I had, she was fucking awful. Like, we're going along the quest, and she never told us to create weapons, so we get to the quest, and I'm like, oh, I don't have a weapon. Oh, well, sucks to be you then. Like, what? No! Why didn't you tell me to do that? You fucking... God! The movie just proves that it's the DM that runs everything. You need to have a DM that can improvise, that can go along with the story, but is also trying to drive the main purpose of their story and their quest that they're creating for you. If your DM sucks, you're gonna have a bad time. I'm gonna give the gamers Dorkness Rising 4 out of 5 Blu-rays.
I like it a lot.
So guys, if you've seen Dorkness Rising, what did you think about it? Or if you've never seen it before and you stumbled across it because of this video, then comment below, let me know what you thought about it. And as always, if you like what you see here, if you like my take on movies, then hit the subscribe button and make sure you hit that bell so you know the next time I'm released next movie review. So guys, I will see you next time on the channel, but in the meantime, be well, be good to each other, and go watch a movie. Take care, guys.